Hello everyone, welcome to our video tutorial about functions. In today's tutorial, we are going to focus on a number of functions just like we see below here. So to follow this tutorial, you can pause the video and type some content in your worksheet, then we can move together. So in today's tutorial, we shall work with these functions as we can see below here. So let us start by looking at how we can get or calculate the total. Which function can we use if we want to calculate the total of these results we see on our screen? Just like we said in our previous tutorial, that if you're dealing with these functions, you may not even need to write them in your cells where you want to perform the calculations from. So in today's tutorial, we shall have less of writing of the syntax for these functions in the cells, as we shall see. And therefore, we are going to use this formulas tab to enable us go ahead with these functions. So we shall click on the formulas tab. So from the formulas tab, we shall use this insert function assistant. However, before we can click on this insert function assistant, we have to specify where do we want to put our cursor, or in which cell do we want to insert a function. So that is very important. With our calculation, we want to start with getting the total. So we shall click in this cell. So after clicking, we shall go to the insert function assistant. We click on it. So when we click, this dialog box will be displayed for us. And from the dialog box, we can now search for the function which helps us to perform the calculation and get the total. Let me try to move this dialog box below here. Now we want to get that function which can help us to go ahead and perform this calculation and we get the total, and that is what we call the sum function. Now to get that sum function, we can select it down here where we see select a function, and we are seeing a number of functions. To simplify our work, where we see search for a function, we are just going to type inside here sum. So we shall delete that information by pressing the backspace key, then we type sum. On our keyboard, we shall press enter, or you can click on this word go. So when you click on go, then we shall see our sum selected, and from our spreadsheet we see an equal sign already inserted there. Then below here we see the explanation for sum, adds all the numbers in a range of cells, and we would like to add all these numbers in these different cells. So we shall say yes, okay. We click on okay. Then from our spreadsheet we can see the cell range already specified. Now since it is already correct, then that is well and good. Then if the program does not automatically pick these values correctly from these different cells, then what you do, you can just go in this field for number 1, you delete that information. So I'll press on the backspace key to remove that information or that cell range. Now after removing, you go and specify that I want to work with this range of cells. So to do that, you click, hold, and then move your cursor to give the selection. After selecting, you release the mouse button, then you will see the range of cells displayed for you in this field for number 1. This number too, if you had some other calculation you wanted to perform in this same field, then you would click there. But since our interest is on this first group of cells, then we just need this number 1 field. Then on the right we can see the values in those cells also displayed for us. Then below here we see the total already calculated. Now we can go ahead and click on OK. So when we click on OK, we see the total for this range of cells calculated below. And to get the totals for the remaining individuals below here, we shall just move our cursor to the extreme end or at the edge of this active cell. When the fill handle feature appears, we shall click, hold, and then move our fill handle feature to fill the formulas in different cells. Then the calculations are performed. Now that we have moved, we can release the mouse button. Then the calculations for the rest of the cells are performed. Then that is how we can use this insert function to enable us deal with those functions and come up with these calculations. Now let's work with this min function. The min function helps us to return the smallest value in a range of cells. Now that means we would like to get the smallest values from this range of cells. So we shall click in this cell under this column for mathematics. Then we go again to the insert function assistant. We click. Then what do we want to do? We want to get the mean. Since I can already see it here, I don't need to type. You only type if you cannot easily access the function from these functions below here. Now we want mean. I will click on mean. Then it will be described down here. Then I will go and click on OK. When I click on OK, then the function argument will be displayed for us. And also in the field, we can see that there are cell range already put there. If these are the correct cell range, then you can go ahead and perform calculations with them. But if they are not, like in this case, it is starting from C3 to C11, and C11 is not in our interest, or it is not among the cell range. So we shall just press on the backspace key to remove that cell range, and we specify ours by clicking, holding, then moving to select our range of cells. After, below here, you will see that the mean value is already displayed for us. Then we click on the OK button. Now we have to also get the mean values in these different cells. To get that, we shall move our fill handle at the bottom edge of this active cell. Then we click, hold, and then move up to that column for chemistry and release the mouse button. Now we can see the different values also obtained after using the fill handle feature, and these are the small or smallest values in this range of cells. If we can look at this value 59 and we see under history, you will see that 59 is the smallest value. Then under this one of physics, we can see that it is 56 as the smallest value. Then with the max function, this returns to us the largest value in a range of cells. So to get the largest values in this range of cells, we shall click in this column for mathematics once again. Then we go to the insert function. From the insert function, we shall look for max function. Now we don't see it here. that means that we are going to type it up here. So we delete, then we say max, then click on go, and here is our function. We go ahead and click on OK. When we click on OK, we have this cell address which we don't need, so we shall remove it by pressing on the backspace key. Then we go to our range of cells, click hold, then select the range of cells you are working with. We release, then here the max or the largest value is already obtained as 92. Then we click on OK. When we click on OK, we shall continue and get the max or the largest values in these different cells. So we use the fill handle feature, click hold, then fill the formulas in different cells, and we get the max or largest value. So we can see these different cells now filled with values, and these are the largest values in these different cells. Now let's go ahead and calculate the average for these results. So we shall click in this cell under the mathematics column, then we go back again to the insert function, then we look for average. It is already there. If it is not there, you just type, then we shall now go ahead and click on OK. So when we click on OK, we again have this cell range we don't need, so we shall delete and specify our own cell range. Then we sit down here, the average calculated. We click on OK. Let's go ahead and fill the formulas in different cells so that we get the average. Then we have now our cells filled with the formulas and the average calculated for us. Our next function is discount function. Discount function helps us to count the number of cells that have numbers. So we want to count how many cells here are having numbers in them. So if they are 10, it counts and says there are 10 cells containing numbers. If there are 2, then it returns to you 2 cells containing numbers. So to use the count function, we shall click on this cell, then we click on the insert function assistant, then we look for count. It is already down here, so we click on it. Below here, it is describing for us that counts the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. Then we say yes, this is what we want to do. We click on OK. Then we don't need this cell range, so we have to remove, and we specify the cells we want to work with. So there are the cells. After inserting the cell range, it has already counted and it is saying there are 7 cells containing numbers. So we say yes, OK. We click on OK, and here we have our 7. Now we have to fill the formulas in different cells so that even in these different columns they get counted and we see how many cells are containing numbers. For instance, if we see here, there are some values missing and here some values missing. Now we would like to see whether this function can recognize that there are some values missing. So there are 6 cells with numbers. So to see that, we are going to use the fill handle feature. We click, hold, then we move to do that. Then after reaching, we release our mouse button. Now here under biology, there are 6 cells. 1, 2, 3, here is blank, 4, 5, 6 cells containing numbers. Then if we look at this one of chemistry, there are 5 cells containing numbers. So we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the 5 cells with numbers. And with our next function, which is the count blank function, this function helps us to count the number of empty cells that are in a range of cell. So count blank, it will come and count how many cells are not containing values or numbers, or how many cells are empty. So it will count and says, okay, here there are no cells which are empty. Here there are some cells which are empty. And it will tell you how many cells. If they are 2 cells, then it will say 2. If it is 1, it has to show us 1. So let's work with this count function. So we shall click in this cell. Then we use the insert function assistant. Then we look for the count blank. It is below here. And here it is showing to us counts the number of empty cells in a specified range of cells. This is what we want to do. So we click on OK. Then when we click on OK, we have to show the range of cells that we want to work with. So we don't need those range of cells, we want to specify ours. So we click, hold, and then specify. We release the mouse button. So here it gives us 0. Counts the number of empty cells in a range of cells. Now we can see there is no cell which is empty. That's why we see a 0. Then we click on OK. Now we have to check whether these cells here are not empty or they are having some values which are missing. So we shall click to the edge using this autofill handle, click, hold, then move to fill the functions. After filling, we release. So in this column for physics, there is no empty cell. In this column for history, no empty cell. Then in biology, we see there is one empty cell, which is this one. Then in this one of English, there is no empty cell. Then when we come to chemistry, we can see there are 2 empty cells, and they are these ones. So that is the work of the count blank function. Then lastly, with the Countif function, this Countif function is used with some criteria. So for it, it counts the number of cells which meets a given criteria or condition. You may want to find out how many cells are there that are above, maybe having values above, say, 80. So you can use this Countif function. So it will count the number of those cells containing 80 and above. So to use this Countif function, we are going to click in this cell. Then we go to the insert function assistant. Then we look for the Countif function. We have it here. It is saying counts the number of cells within a range that meets a given condition. Then we say OK. That's what we want to do. Then under this field, we have first of all to specify the range of cells that we want to work with. So we shall come and click, hold, and specify our range of cells. Then in the criteria, what do you want to do? Which condition do you want to meet? We shall click in this field for criteria, and we say we want to count the number of cells with values above 80. So in this criteria field, we shall put greater than 80. So I'll press on Shift key and the greater than symbol, then I put 80. Because we want to find out how many cells are having 80 and above. So after we click on OK. So when we click on OK, here we have 2, and we can see from here we have 92 and then 89. These are the cells above 80, as we can even see from the formula bar. So we shall use the fill handle feature to fill the formulas in different cells and see the results. So in this column for chemistry, there is only one cell with 80, with greater than 80, and that cell is this one of 92. Then under physics, we see 3 cells greater than 80. If we can look through, we have this one of 87, 88, 89. Then history, we see 1. Biology, we see 3. English, we see 2. Then math, we have 2. So with the Countif function, you can use it to do whatever you want. If you want to get those values less, if it is equal, then you just specify using this insert function assistant. You can even see the formula or the function on the formula bar. All we have to know is that there are a lot of functions that you can work with, and this insert function assistant can simplify your work when you're dealing with these functions. You go ahead and be curious to find out how those other functions can be used when you're working with your spreadsheet. Hope you found this video tutorial useful to you. That's it for now. See you in our next tutorial.